This mutation is called Hard Target and is displayed on Void Thrashing. We have 3 mutators active. We have Hardened Will, we have Polarity, and we have Barrier. So, let us have a look at the masteries. You will see that Raynor has masteries allocated, 15-15 into the research cost reduction drop speed mastery, 30 points to the Hyperion cooldown, and then 30 points to the medic healing mastery. This mastery allocation is not visible at the moment because this player is going to, Tutu is going to be doing a solo in a certain kind of way, but he's still going to be using his Kerrigan. You can see he has pulled away his drone, so he's not going to be mining with Kerrigan, but he will be using only the Kerrigan hero unit to deal with Polarity, which is the mutator that requires them to have 2 armies out. So he's going to be using Kerrigan, and he's going to be using Raynor army for the rest of this mission. So speaking of prestiges, we have Kerrigan with a Desolate Queen prestige, and we have Raynor using the Backwater Marshal prestige, which is P1 Raynor. Now, just a word of advice, Tutu knows what he's doing, and he sometimes likes to meme as well on mutations. P1 Raynor, unless you are able to clear the mission really fast, and I'm talking about sub 8 minutes, I think is the actual breakpoint, then P1 Raynor is usually not a preferable prestige to play. It is just much more better to have access to your mules, take an expansion, and utilize the mules to buff up your economy. So if your games are really short, and this is basically just limited to Raynor speedrunners on very certain missions, if I might add, usually it is not recommended to pick this Backwater Marshal prestige. But we do have a bunker down, and we have a couple of Marines ready. Kerrigan will be popping out in just a little bit. This attack wave has unfortunately spawned at the 3-minute mark and not at the 4-minute mark, so it'll be pounding this little bunker for a little bit of time before Kerrigan comes out. So notice the positioning here as well with the SCVs. The SCVs are not parked in front of the bunker, and this might be really trivial, but one thing to note is how aggro is calculated in the game. The second this SCV starts repairing the bunker, its aggro priority matches that of the bunker, which means that the AI will target the nearest unit with the highest aggro priority. So if your SCV is standing in between the bunker and the unit that is attacking it and repairing the bunker, the SCV will get focused down by Amon's units. So just a small word of advice. It's pretty, I think it's pretty obvious for anyone that's playing this game for a period of time, but I do like to mention these little things as well about how aggro works in the game. But first, Void Thrasher has spawned, and the Banshees are going to be moving over here. This Void Thrasher belongs to Kerrigan, so Kerrigan will be dealing with this. In the meanwhile, these Banshees are just going to start attacking some of these enemy structures, just picking off whatever it can. In the meanwhile, he's already taken out all the detection over here, so this now is just down to the Banshees to clear out, and by the time the Banshees end up despawning, they would have taken out at least a few more of these enemy units, and they're getting a few hot shots as well. In the meanwhile, Kerrigan still working away on this one Void Thrasher. Now, do remember that Kerrigan will not be building an army, she's not making anything, her drones are just parked over here, so this is, I think, pretty much as close to a solo as you can get for the Polarity mutation. I did cast one of Tutu's games. I cannot remember which one it was. It was on Missed Opportunities with, was it Field of Screams? I think I cast it where he was doing it on 2 different computers. So he does like the solo Polarity mutations, and this is pretty much as close as you can get as a solo. Polarity mutations, if you use the solo command on this arcade map, it would probably not be fair because Polarity in itself is just particularly difficult. But Kerrigan now going to go and deal with this next attack wave, and Raynor's Marines are going to be jumping in. Now one of these Marines is probably going to end up getting killed off by the other. Second Marine also going down, and this is the reason why this is the reason why P1 Raynor is not very good, because you end up losing these Marines, and you also do not have your economy, and you don't have mules to be able to remax. And these Marines, they are tanky, they do have a lot of HP, they have 100 HP, but as you can see, they will get focused down by Amon, and if you're dealing with enemy compositions like Robo Reaver, which has like Disruptors and Reavers and all sorts of other nasty splash damage units, then it probably doesn't help to have these high HP Marines anyway. You're just gonna end up losing them. So if anyone's wondering why P1 Raynor is not particularly good, this is one thing to take into consideration as well. But we do have the Hyperion here, and the Hyperion is going to be working away on at least some of these units, and as we pick off this one Void Ray. Unfortunately, Raynor is kind of stifled with Kerrigan. He's just waiting on Kerrigan to start clearing out the rest of the stuff before he can push in. He is going for the armor upgrades and the attack upgrades, which is really good. Armor upgrades will give Raynor an HP buff, which is really nice, and it is a 10% HP buff that compounds with the prestige, so that 10% will also be, it'll compound with this extra 100% HP gain, so that'll be actually really nice for Raynor as well. So Kerrigan just slowly working her way over here, and going to pick it. I actually do not know the name of Kerrigan's abilities here, so it's somewhat unfortunate. I do not use P3 Kerrigan. I know a lot of people they swear by P3 Kerrigan. I'm more of a fan of P2 myself, but P3 Kerrigan is a really powerful prestige, and I think it will help a lot when it comes to Raynor as well. I don't like the assimilation auras are just going to be such a huge benefit for Raynor, especially because his units are going to, he doesn't have access to his mules with his prestige. So I think P3 Kerrigan works really well here, and just helps Raynor just get his army out just a little bit faster. And Kerrigan does also have a utility that you don't even have to build orbital. Like, he's probably going to build orbital command center for the scans, but you don't need to build orbital command centers for detection, because you can always use Kerrigan to detect these cloaked units with her little lifty move, which is whatever it's called. I do not know what it's called. So second set of Void Thrashers have spawned now, and these Void Thrashers, one is Raynor's, one is Kerrigan, so that'll be fine. So these commanders will have to work away on this as well. And Polarity is by far the most annoying mutator to deal with. It just increases the difficulty of mutations tenfold, because your army has to take damage while your ally ends up killing stuff. It is almost never the case that you and your ally has adequate army to deal with enemy forces instantly. Like, one player is always going to take a bit of a pounding from Amon, and this is how Polarity actually gets you. But Kerrigan slowly working away over here. The Hyperion is already ready for usage, so we'll see if Raynor is going to be ending up using this as well. And we already have 4 barracks, 5 barracks out, and 2 engineering bays, and they are just researching these upgrades as quickly as possible. You can see here these Marines now sitting at 119 HP, which is really nice. So what is going to be going on over here? We have a few Marines parked in here as well, and Kerrigan also just chilling. So yeah, we have some more barracks coming out as well, and I think it might be overkill on the barracks, but maybe Raynor intends on using like a big assimilation aura and just utilizing this Kerrigan to build up a lot of resources. Okay, so he's going to be getting this attack wave first. Good usage of his co-op map knowledge, and he's aware that there is a mission over there. There is some timing here, so it's going to be really good. So Kerrigan is just going to help Raynor now clear out the rest of these things, and Phoenixes will also keep going down. And you can see this is the issue here. Now, there is an assimilation aura, but I don't think the assimilation aura was necessary, but I guess maybe just a few more resources would have been a little bit helpful. But one thing to note as well is Kerrigan does not have ability efficiency. Remember, the Kerrigan is not researching anything here. She has no research, so she's not going to be able to use her abilities as much as she would like, and additionally also she will not be getting the Heroic Fortitude upgrade, which is also really important upgrade. So Kerrigan not playing at maximum power, pretty much the minimum thing that Kerrigan can do is just using her hero unit to clear. So do bear that in mind as well. Kerrigan is not at maximum power as a hero unit. This hero unit as P3 Kerrigan is ridiculously strong once you get your Chain Lightning, your chain reaction upgrade, and you get your Heroic Fortitude with your ability efficiency upgrade. So Hyperion does get used over here, and the Hyperion is going to start moving around. Now, one thing to note about the Hyperion is that the Hyperion deals more damage. It deals, I think, 3 times the DPS, the damage per second, if it is moving than when it is not moving. So that is something you can do as well if you want to try and maximize your Hyperion damage output, is keep the Hyperion moving just with move commands, not attack commands, because the Hyperion will stop if you use an attack command and it starts attacking a unit. So make sure you keep using a move command. The only difference is that when the Hyperion is not moving, it has a little bit more range on its weapon. So if you're going for the range for whatever reason, I don't really see why you'd go for the range. If there's ever a reason where you want the extra range, you can put the Hyperion on hold command, and the Hyperion's weapon has a higher range. But while the Hyperion is moving, it deals like 3 times the amount of DPS that it would normally deal. Its attack speed, it fires more shots basically. So a couple of Void Thrashers already going down, so Kerrigan has taken out one, Raynor has taken out the second, and the final Void Thrasher is also for Raynor, so Raynor is going to be able to clean that up really fast. Very convenient for him, but it does take him forever to clear this out, and Kerrigan has now used an immobilization wave over here. So Kerrigan will be able to take out a good chunk of these Void Rays before the Void Rays actually get out of the stun. So very nice handling of this attack wave. All those Void Rays have gone down, and I think Raynor wants to go for this bonus objective. He'll have to be a little bit careful. Remember, if he does end up losing Kerrigan, and Kerrigan is fairly squishy, especially with this prestige, because remember that Kerrigan is like, it tends to like to move up in front and does get a lot of high aggro. You can see over here everything is aggro in Kerrigan, so if Kerrigan gets picked off, he's kind of stuck. He has no unit to deal with the Polarity unit, so if he does manage to keep Kerrigan alive, that Archangel does go flying away. And what is Kerrigan going to be doing? Does Kerrigan want to go and get this Archangel? There's one random Void Ray over there, but Kerrigan just uses her shooty move and blasts the Void Ray out of the sky. So we have some more Marines over here. Raynor actually surprisingly flowing a few more resources. Nope, no more mineral float here. And where is Kerrigan going to be going? Is Kerrigan going to be running all the way across the map? Yep, Kerrigan's going to be running all the way across the map to deal with that. How many barracks does he have? He has 7 barracks and 2 engineering bays. Just utilizing the maximum potential of Kerrigan, especially with Desolate Queen. There's a lot of resources available here. Kerrigan's just going to go ahead and just going to try and lure this Archangel. There are a few more Marines, a few Marauders that get dropped over here to try and deal with these Stalkers. And these Marauders will be able to clean up the rest of these Stalkers. The rest of Raynor's army is also jumping in here. I think very few units available for Raynor, and this Archangel is going to start flying away, I think. If Kerrigan is not careful, she will have to try and focus us down. And again, Raynor just has to sit there and just take it. There is nothing he can do. And Kerrigan is going to take a while before that. This Archangel is probably going to run away, I think. And yeah, I think this Archangel will run away the second Kerrigan starts to deal a little bit more damage. Nope, never mind. The Archangel does finally end up dying. So that is that bonus objective done. Raynor has now used his Hyperion, and he's going to try and deal a little bit of damage, but I don't think this Hyperion is going to be very useful. Hyperion does despawn with a bunch of Hybrid Dominators, and oh yeah, there's also Hardened Will available, so that is one thing else to notice. This map actually doesn't have a lot of hybrids. There are no hybrids in the attack wave, so that's actually kind of really nice as well. So you can see there are a bunch of Tempests over here. Mobilization wave getting used to take out and freeze these Tempests while the rest of Raynor's army deletes them. But yeah, one of the things to note is the Hybrid Dominators in the final enemy base will have Hardened Will because there are Amon units around them. So the one good thing about playing Raynor is that Raynor doesn't really care about the about Hardened Will. So he's sitting right now at 9 damage per attack. So his Marines are going to be dealing full damage, or they're going to be dealing damage as they would normally deal without Hardened Will. Because remember that Hardened Will reduces damage to a maximum of 10 damage. So this 9 damage from the Marines is unaffected by the Hybrid Dominator's Hardened Will buff. So that is actually one of the reasons why commanders like Raynor and Stukov are really good. So one of the things I did in the weekly mutation shorts is I actually forgot about Stukov. I forgot that he's a commander that exists. But yeah, Stukov is a great commander for this because his units are also expendable, and it does seem that Raynor may be treating his units expendably as well. They're very JYK-like, but do note that Raynor's Marines are not expendable. They have families, and you do not want to be inhumane with them. And you can see over here, there's a lot of inhumanity going on right now. 125 Marines have given their lives to Raynor. More storms coming down. These medics are just standing with little umbrellas. They're going to hide underneath their shields. And there's one very upset Hybrid Dominator over here, but it's going to be a while before this Hybrid Dominator ends up going down. The good thing is, it has actually lost all its energy, so it's used all its energy right now, so eventually it will end up dying. And I think might be one more Hybrid Dominator over here. I'm not really sure. There's one Void Thrasher. This Void Thrasher does belong to Raynor, so he'll be able to take that off. Yeah, there's another Hybrid Dominator over there. Hybrid Dominator does cast a Storm, and he uses a Plasma Blast on one of those Marines as well, killing off that Marine. And finally, the Hybrid Dominator goes down. There is a Dark Templar, but Kerrigan is having absolutely none of that. He ends up killing off this Dark Templar. So what do we have over here? So this Void Thrasher does belong to... Is that Kerrigan Void Thrasher, or is that a Raynor Void Thrasher? I think there's a Void Ray that belongs... Yeah, okay, the Void Ray belongs to Kerrigan. The Void Thrasher belongs to Raynor, so he's going to be able to take that out. And we have another couple of things over here. We have an attack wave, and this attack wave is going to start taking out Raynor's bases, and he is basically dependent on Kerrigan. Kerrigan has to try and clear this out as quickly as possible. I would probably drop the Hyperion over here just to keep these base alive. There we go. So Hyperion gets used just to try and stall while Kerrigan just takes out the remainder of this Void Thrasher over here. And this is just all Kerrigan. There's nothing else to do other than just auto attack and clear out the Void Thrasher manually. So the Hyperion has finally ended up despawning. This base is getting completely wrecked and ravaged by Amon forces. There's just a little bit more left in the Void Thrasher, just 1,200 HP left. This should be more than enough time because Kerrigan does have a few abilities. Finally, the Void Thrasher goes down. Not a moment too soon. Those Templates were just dealing so much damage, but nice work. And that is GG.